Okay, so now you can see I have built up a few coils and I am smoothing them out. It's been helping have this little bowl of water here just in case my fingers are sticking to the clay, just to get them a little bit wet to help smooth it out. But don't use too much because you don't want to fill it up with water or make it soggy. Now I'm going to pretend like I need to put it away and protect this edge because I want to come back and build it later. So I have some paper towel, little strips, and I'm just going to get it just damp, not soaking wet. Just enough to make it a little bit wet. As you can see, my paper towel isn't totally soaked. And now I'm just going to take it along the edge of my pot where I want to be able to build onto later. I don't want it to get too dry because otherwise it won't stick to itself very well. Just like that. So now once I'm done with that part, I'm going to take one of my trash bags from my toolkit and put my entire piece in there, including the tile, and just around it really loosely. So be careful, just lift that up and kind of pull the edges of the trash bag underneath, and then you can go set it on your shelf and it should be safe. Okay, now we're going to fast forward to having all of my coils on and smoothed on both the inside and the outside. I used my wooden rib to do this, as well as my fingers, which is honestly my preferred method. I feel like I have more control. So now if I want to make the outside and inside really smooth just to finish off, I'm going to use my sponge with just a little bit of water in it, just enough to be damp. And I'm just going to go along the outside and inside of my pot very gently. And notice that I'm always using another hand to support the back so I do not collapse my piece. Now I am done smoothing the inside and outside, but I have this rough edge right here that I want to even out a little bit. And to do that, I'm going to use my fettling knife. Now you want to be really gentle so you do not collapse your piece. And you're just going to go delicately around the edge and try to even it out as much as you can. So notice how I'm using my other hand to hold it and support it, and just shaving off little bits at a time like this. You want to go little pieces at a time because otherwise it could grab your piece and tear it where you don't want it to be torn. So just keep going around until you have a nice flat edge. All right, fast forwarding again, and now I have my edge almost all the way smooth by slowly taking off little slivers. Looks much better. Now if you would like, you can even smooth out those edges more. I'm going to get my fingers a little bit damp and just kind of rub those little edges nice and smooth. Just work it slowly. All right, and there we go. I have the base for my coil pot, nice and smooth inside and outside. And next I will add some features of my animal. So now I would like to add some features to my clay pot. I have my sketchbook nearby so I can see my plan and have that out in front of me. I have my ball of clay. And I'm going to start pulling off pieces of clay for my features. And I'm going to start with a little foot. So depending on your animal, you're going to have to make different shapes for different features. So just keep that in mind. And so for my little foot, I'm going to kind of make almost like a triangle shape. And I'm just going to use my fingers to manipulate it into the shape that I want. So I'm rolling it in a little ball in my hand. There we go. And now I'm going to start shaping it, just using my hands to get the shape that I want. Once I got the shape that I wanted to cut in little toes, so I used my fettling knife for that. And I just cut out 3 little toes for my little chipmunk foot. And I'm going to kind of manipulate those. You'll have to work things slowly to get the shape that you want. There it is, my little foot. And now it is time to score and slip it onto my piece. So I grab my scoring tool. We always have to score and slip. And I'm going to scratch up the side that I'm going to attach to my pot. Just like that. And then I'm going to think about, okay, where do I want to put this? Kind of shaping it to where it can go flush to the side of my pot. Grab my scoring tool and then score away where I would like it to attach. All right. Now got my slip just a little bit on my finger. Put it all over my scoring marks on both the foot and the pot. And now I'm going to attach them. Be really delicate so you don't cave your pot in. You might want to put a hand on the inside for support, just like that, and push them together. All right, first step done of attaching my foot. The other one will go right over here as well. And then I'm also going to try to smooth out some of those score marks that I left behind. So I'm blending my foot into the pot, just using my finger. And that's going to help attach it really well, and it just looks nice too. It really makes the two pieces become one. There we go, nice and smoothed onto there. You can still see some of my little scoring marks though, and we are going to clean those up. So now I am going to use this end of my boxwood tool to smooth out those score marks. It's nice because it's a little bit smaller than your finger and it can really get into those tiny little places to smooth it out. Always using my hand on the inside to support so I don't collapse my pot. And there it is, an attached foot, nice and smooth. So I continue to add features like this little ear that I made out of rolling a ball in my hands with the clay and then pressing my thumb into it. Make sure that you're always scoring and slipping and repeating those steps over and over for all of the features that you put onto your clay animal. Always slipping and scoring. And really thinking about, okay, where does this go before I make my scoring marks? All right, attaching my ear, really smoothing it on there and using my hand to support the other side, and repeat with all of my features until I have a little chipmunk. Okay, now I have added all of my features. I have a nose, hands, arms, little stripes that I made out of tiny coils, my little chipmunk's tail, and it's even holding its little sunflower seed. So next what I would like to do is add some texture to the outside, and I could do that with any of these tools that I have, or anything I find around the house. I could use my boxwood tool, I could use my needle tool. I could also use my double-sided loop tool to take out little pieces of clay. Be careful doing that so you don't take out big chunks, but you could definitely make some fun textures with that. Alright, so I used my needle tool to carve in a little mouth, some pupils, and all of this fur texture all around my pot. Just using really gentle little dash marks to make them all the way around. So depending on your animal, you may want to use something different, but play around with the different tools and see what texture they give you in a little separate piece of clay. Okay, now it's time to store my piece, so just a reminder to very gently wrap your piece up in a trash bag. Be really careful because now I have those little ears sticking up in his arms and I don't want to knock them off. All right, gently lift it and just tuck those sides under. And now it is ready to go sit on a shelf. And it could be ready. If it's totally done, then it wants to slowly dry. So maybe wrap it a little bit looser. All right, all set. And very last, I want to make sure to clean up, and don't forget to wipe down that slab mat with a damp, clean sponge. Much cleaner than mine, but make sure to get that nice and clean for the next time you want to use it. And take your slip and put something over the top of that as well so you can use it later. And then you're all good.